Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the latest Monday Musings episode, and welcome to March 1st, 2021. Now in the third month of the year. Moving forward, full speed ahead. Hopefully, everyone is staying healthy and staying safe. I know a lot of people are looking forward to getting their vaccines. I was reading the other day that it looks like in the UK, the 40 to 49 age bracket folks are starting to get their vaccinations against COVID. I can't register for mine until May 1st here in Mexico, so I'm still a couple months out. March, April, yeah, at least 2 months. I got 2 full months to wait. So it's still lockdown, social distancing. We do go out. We go to the park like 3 times a week, go for runs at Chapultepec Park, and then there's a small park by our house. We go out a couple times a week. So we still go out, but we live in a business district, so it's not everything's been shut down for a year, so there's not a lot going on around us. So we're lucky in that sense because we're not in a high risk area. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff. Looking forward to that. Today's Monday Musings episode is jam packed. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. I've got 5 things on my list to talk about. Um, First and foremost, today is the big day. If you're watching this in the morning or in the afternoon or whatever, don't forget tonight on YouTube, March 1st, tonight, 8 p.m. Central, we're doing the live stream reveal of the new Patreon project, which is called Codename Project Dramond. It does not have an official name yet for a lot of different reasons. We're not going to be giving any official names until we get closer to the commercial launch of the products, but that's the code name for the project. And if you sneak over to Patreon anytime after watching this video, you'll be able to see the updates to the Patreon page, and you'll get a very good idea of what we're going to be talking about tonight because everything's kind of there on the page now. All the new tiers are up, the monthly goals, all the project details. But you can join myself, my brother Joey Anderson, and my wife Christina Barrios. We're going to be live tonight on YouTube, excuse me, talking about the project in greater detail and all the little things we're going to be working on. And we're going to be diving into all the juicy details that are in between the little nuggets that you'll find over on the Patreon page. So make sure to check that out at some point today. And hopefully we will see you there tonight at 8 p.m. Central here on YouTube. Apart from that, let's move on to the main topics today. The first thing I want to talk about was the cancellation of Anthem Next, or the reboot of Anthem, which was a marred game that came out that BioWare put out. My brother and I bought it, I pre-ordered it for him for Christmas, I think, or his birthday. I forget when exactly it came out. I think it was for Christmas or something. But that was a highly anticipated project for me. And I am probably one of the few people who will say this, but I had a lot of fun playing Anthem at launch. Despite all of the bugs, despite all of the hiccups, getting lots of blue screen crashes on the PS4, it was definitely a buggy, crappy launch. But the core, I treated it like a single player game for the most part, and then whenever my brother could play, I would log on and play with him a couple times a week, which is the same pattern we've held for, I don't know, 12 years now or something. Since I got into gaming with my brother back in 2010, I got him going in Lord of the Rings Online, then Star Wars The Old Republic, then he got off and did World of Warcraft and Call of Duty and other stuff. But for the most part, he and I have pretty much played a couple times a week together for the most part throughout the years. So Anthem was one of those games that we played together. Now I played it a lot more frequently than he did. I played it from launch. I went hardcore and was playing like 6 to 8 hours a day. And I got a good 60 hours out of everything before I hit the wall of repeatable content that was the end game. Now, the issues with the game for a lot of people related to the end game. Bugs aside, they didn't really have, they were trying to hop on the Destiny 2 bandwagon of creating this game as a live service. And pretty much all of the previous BioWare games had always been single-player games. Um, Although there were some multiplayer components to like the Mass Effect games and the most recent Dragon Age game. But they've always been known for these really good single-player games. The exception, of course, being Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is an MMORPG. Um, but I played it as a single-player game. I went into it knowing that it had a multiplayer component, which I expected to enjoy with my brother. But I did not go into that game expecting to live in the online world of Anthem because I did not anticipate it or expect it to be an MMORPG or any sort of massively multiplayer online game in any sense of the word because there just wasn't enough there at the end game, and I knew that going into it. But there was a lot of people who didn't or didn't care to pay attention, and so when it came out, it was savaged by critics, not just for the bugs, but for the fact that the end game was just complete shit. I mean, let's be honest, it was shit for the people who like to play those types of games. But I played it as a single player game and loved it. I loved the storyline. I loved the voice acting, the animation sequences. Everything was amazing. So I wasn't upset by the game, but I'm also the same person who loved Mass Effect Andromeda when it came out, and the critics and a lot of the community savaged Mass Effect Andromeda when it came out as well, to the point that they abandoned all of the DLC for that game because people hated it and they had a lot of bugs to fix and everything else. So, I'm in the camp of liking things that a lot of other people don't like. So, sorry. Anyway, I loved Anthem. I didn't really play it after I got to the end game. So I played it pretty hardcore, got about 60 hours out of it. And then I played about another 60 hours of the online play with my brother. And then we both got to the point where he had completed the main game and we had both done, all of the in-game raids, so to speak, and we'd cycled through those half a dozen times each. And we just both reached a point where it was like, you know what, we're done with this game for now. And then we just put it to the side. And then they came out and said that they were going to be revamping the game in the same way that No Man's Sky revamped their game, and they were going to attempt to relaunch Anthem later on down the road. Now, I'm not going to dive into all of the ups and downs of BioWare and them moving their people around and working on the next Dragon Age game and the next Mass Effects games, and the creative director of Anthem moving on and all this other stuff. Um, the short version is that so obviously the other day, I think 4 days ago now, 3 or 4 days ago, might be more than that. I don't really know the dates. It was announced that they had canceled Anthem Next, and that whole team has basically moved off onto the next Dragon Age project. So it's good to know that they're working full speed on the next Dragon Age project. And there's a tie-in to that after I get done with this topic. But the thing I wanted to talk about though is that I find it very sad that a good game, in my opinion, couldn't just be left alone to be a good game. Um, Companies are striving to make these games as a service, and it forces them into this business model where they are reliant upon the needs and the whims of, for better lack of a word, trolls, I would say. And unfortunately, these days, the way we have publicity operating in terms of streamers having a big voice these days, all it takes is for one big streamer to not like a game or to not like how something works, and then they go out there and they shred it, and then all these other streamers pick on it, and the next thing you know, there's this wave of negative publicity that follows a game, and it can never shake that. And then you've got all these news outlets and so on and so forth that jump on the bandwagon. And like I said, I didn't think there was anything wrong with the game other than the bugs. There were, it was a buggy release. Getting lots of blue screens on my PS4, that's not fun to get blue screen crashes, which is the same reason why I didn't, I ended up not streaming Cyberpunk 2077 because it launched and I have it on the PS4 and it launched in such a horrible state. I tried to stream 3 or 4 episodes and there was one point where it crashed like 6 times over a 15-minute period for me. And it just got to the point where it was like, as much as I was enjoying the game, it's not fun to be trying to stream that to people because they're not going to have the same patience that I do, because I'm happy to sit here and I'll go drink a coffee, I'll go make a snack or whatever while it's rebooting, and I'll come back. And I have the patience to continue to play through a game if I'm having fun, even if it has bugs and crashes. That's just who I am. I don't, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. But it definitely does detract from it, especially when you're paying $60 for something. I understand why some people are like, I paid $60, I demand a perfect experience, right? I get that. You're totally entitled to that opinion. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with wanting your money back or expecting to get a quality product out of a $60 purchase. That being said, I'm not the type of person who's going to demand a refund when I know that they are going to patch those issues and fix them as they go deeper into the game. So I was okay with Anthem. I was in the back seat with the Anthem reboot. I was like, I'm waiting to see what they do if they ever do it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, you know. And then when it was announced it was just canceled, it was kind of like, well, that kind of sucks, you know. I'm hoping that doesn't mean that the game's going to disappear from my library at some point in time, because I still have Anthem on the PS4, and I'm to be honest with you, I've been tempted to go back and replay it again because I really did enjoy the single player storyline. Um, we'll see. But that does dive into the next topic of the day, which is the decision from BioWare and Electronic Arts to make the next Dragon Age. There's not going to be any multiplayer in the next Dragon Age game. It's going to be strictly a single player game. And the reason for that is because they went off on this, you know, rampage of trying to make all their games with this multiplayer live component, because games as a service make more money, and so everything we do has to be about making more money. And that's the downside to having a huge corporate environment where the investors dictate how your company is structured and how your company goes about their business. That is the one big downside. I know a lot of people like to hate on Electronic Arts. I'm not one of those people. I think all companies have pros and cons. Um, I don't give a shit about the company politics. I like to play video games, and so I play video games. I don't care who publishes them. I don't care where they come from. I don't care if it's EA. I don't care if it's Epic. I don't care if it's Blizzard Activision. I don't care. I just like to play video games, so I don't get involved in that aspect of it. But um, one of the reasons that all these companies have pushed for games as a service business model over the last, say, 6 to 8 years is because it makes more money, because you can figure out how to nickel and dime people for all these live updates and expansions and DLCs and all this other stuff. So, I mean, I get that. But at the same time, it's very refreshing. And the reason they gave for the change is the success of Star Wars um, Jedi. Now I'm blanking on the name of that recent Star Wars game. Just Fallen Order, right? Star Wars. Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order, which I've played through twice. I played it the first time through as a casual player, and then I played it the second time through on like more hardcore mode. And I am going to go. I am going to go back and do a third playthrough at some point on the more hard version. Um, Jedi Fallen Order was an incredible game, and it sold so many copies and did so well that it reinstilled faith in the single player business model for Electronic Arts. So they made the decision that the next Dragon Age game is going to be a single player game only. There's not going to be a multiplayer component. And I heartily applaud that decision. That is a very good decision. The first Dragon Age game was not a multiplayer. The whole thing was, it was a, obviously there, over the years that evolved, but that first experience playing Dragon Age Origins, for me, that was the best RPG that I had played since Baldur's Gate 2. Hands down. I went in, I played that game for 6 months solid and didn't touch an MMORPG or anything else during those 6 months. I was so enthralled with Dragon Age Origins that I had to keep going back and redoing it. I was like, okay, so first I took a human rogue through, and then I had to take a dwarven fighter through, and then I had to take an elven ranger through, and then I had to do an elven sorcerer. Like, I kept going back to, which is the same thing I did when Baldur's Gate 2 came out. I played that game for like 6 months straight, and I just kept, I was putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week playing the game. And I did the same thing with Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age 2 came out and they had turned it into this more of a, you know, Nathan Drake style adventure kind of. I mean, yeah, it was still had some RPG components, but I didn't really care for it as much. And then, by the time they got to Inquisition, I really didn't care for Inquisition that much. It was a good game, and the lore was good, but I really preferred the Dragon Age Origins style, and I really liked the way that game was done, and you know, whatever. Anyway, the point I wanted to talk about though today is that it's interesting to see that with the next Dragon Age game, EA has made the decision, along with, they're the ones who dictate what BioWare does. They made the decision that the next Dragon Age game is going to be single player. They're not going to try to screw around with multiplayer stuff because of the failure of Anthem. And they're going to focus on that single player experience, trying to recreate what they did with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I think is a great decision. And I can't wait to see what the next chapter of Dragon Age looks like. It also gives me faith and hope, anyway. I shouldn't say faith. It gives me hope that the next Mass Effect game is also going to be focused primarily on the single player um, experience, as opposed to trying to force feed this multiplayer component into it. Now, I think it's great to have a multiplayer component where you can play with your friends or to do some side missions and stuff. But if you're shooting for an RPG, like, the way those games were originally designed, they were meant to be single player games. It's like 80-85% single player with some multiplayer component. Now, you could always do what Baldur's Gate 3 is doing, which is, Larian Studios is well known for this with their games. Divinity Original Sin 2 in particular, people have raved about the multiplayer component of that game, in the sense that it allows you to go in and play the game with your friends, up to 3 people. And they're doing the same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. You can go in with 3 of your friends and play the game with your 4-person party. And I think that that's a great way to do multiplayer in a game. It doesn't have to be an entirely separate experience. It's just an add-on to the single player campaign, and it allows you to go through the game with your friends. I think it's great to do that. But this whole idea of needing to have this entirely unique multiplayer component to a game, I don't know. It's worked great for games for some companies. Look at Grand Theft Auto. You've got Grand Theft Auto Online, and then you've got Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Redemption Online. And I know Cyberpunk 2077 had said they were going to be doing a multiplayer component. I would wonder if that's still going to happen, given all of the problems that CD Projekt Red has faced with the launch of Cyberpunk, and then the hack and everything else that's been going on, class action lawsuits. I would wonder if they're still going to do the multiplayer component or not. We'll see. Don't know. Segueing into Baldur's Gate 3, they just patched patch 4 for the early access. Excuse me, and they added the druid class. So this is the first new class they've added to the experience. Now, I played it at launch. I did stream it a little bit, but that was when I was still experimenting with Twitch, before I switched over to YouTube full time. So, I think I put some videos up on YouTube, but I took the playlist down because they weren't doing anything, And it's before I had gotten going full time on YouTube. So I streamed the first session the other day of the Druid, and I gotta admit, early access is coming along. They're making good progress. And I got to say, the Druid class is a lot of fun. I'm still only level 2, so I just, to put this into perspective, the first time I played early access for Baldur's Gate 3, I got about 60 hours out of my rogue. And they say that, there's 25 to 30 hours of gameplay for the early access experience, which is a part of Act 1. I went double that. But I'm also a completionist, so I was going around the map trying to complete every single little side quest I possibly could. And then when I went back through it with the ranger, it was a much quicker experience, but I kind of repeated a lot of the same decisions. I was just trying to see what it felt like with a different class. This time around, I'm kind of planning on doing a completionist run again, but I'm not planning on playing that more than once or twice a week, because the reality is, with Project Dramond, that we just kicked off, that's a big project for us. Obviously, it's not something that we're doing full time, but that's taking up the bulk of my spare time. Um, so the game time that I have, like Mondays and Thursday nights, we are still doing Lord of the Rings online, with the exception of tonight because we have the reveal for the project. But Mondays and Thursday nights, we play Lord of the Rings online. I'm still planning on playing my Lore Master at least once a week for Lotro. Don't it just and those are random. The Monday and Thursday night streams are planned with my brother because that's when he has time to play. But my other streams are for me. So my Lore Master I'll play once a week in my spare time, and I'm planning on playing the druid at least once a week in my spare time as I have a couple hours here and there. So you can expect to see some more playthroughs of the early access Baldur's Gate 3 druid moving forward. I'm going to say once, possibly twice a week. It's going to be random as I have spare time throughout the days. Um, but I got to say, it's looking pretty good. I think the one big change that I've noticed, which I love, obviously they've polished up the um, animations and stuff, which is great. But I love the fact that now, instead of having to individually jump your characters, like everybody can jump. Because that was a big thing that was a pain in the butt during the very first time I played, was you had to individually get each individual character and have them jump over gaps and stuff. And now they've got it to where it can be done with the party, which is brilliant. That's a great little thing where I don't have to micromanage the movement of my characters so much. Love it. I'm loving the spells for the druid so far. I know that they've promoted the shape changing a lot. I don't plan on playing my druid as a shape changer. I think that's a cool component. There might be times when I use that for specific encounters or specific scenarios, but I'm playing my druid more as I'm thinking Jaheira from Baldur's Gate, and Baldur's Gate 2, where it's like a fighter druid character who's, a spellcaster utility person, um, as opposed to shape changing and getting into the thick of combat. I'm healing, I'm buffing, I'm using spells, I'm doing that kind of stuff. So it's great that you have all these different ways that you can play the druid. But I do know that they've got, shape shifting plays heavily into the subclasses as well. So we'll see. But I'm enjoying it so far. So I would say make sure you stick around for those videos because I will be playing that from time to time. And if you haven't already done so, check out the first playthrough, which I did, yes, 2 days ago. I'm pre-recording this, so I have to remember that was the day before this actually came out. Next piece of content we're going to talk about. And I put this in the Discord the other day for people who wanted to read up on it. George R. R. Martin so he has a deal with HBO, and he's developing. There's a difference between developing and producing. So it's in development right now, which means it hasn't even been greenlit uh, uh, um, for a pilot episode or anything like that. But he is developing a series. It's an adaptation of the book Roadmarks by Roger Zelazny. Now, maybe 2 years ago, I was doing read-throughs here on Patreon. I was doing like a book review club just before we put together the Patreon to put out the Bloody Knuckles anthology. And one of the books I reviewed was that book by Roger Zelazny. Let's look that up real quick. Roadmarks. So Roadmarks is one of my favorite Roger Zelazny books. If you haven't read it yet, you should. You should absolutely read it. It's a really interesting idea where there's this highway. It's an interstate, I should say, an interstate that's basically time and dimensions. And there are certain people who can travel this highway. And the various exits are exits to points of, places and destinations in time. And, so this deals with time travel and interdimension travel and a bunch of other stuff. It's a really fun novel. It was meant to eventually become part of a series, but he never got around to finish it before he passed. But the book in and of itself is just this amazing. I think it's one of Zelazny's best productions in my mind. And I thought it was really cool to find out that George R. R. Martin was, at the very least, looking at developing a series for HBO or an adaptation of that. And I'm hoping that it comes to fruition, but obviously Martin has his fingers in a lot of different pies, and not all of the things that they were supposed to produce a bunch of other Game of Thrones spin-offs, and I think out of all of those, most of those have fallen to the wayside, other than one, which I think is still going ahead. So Martin has his fingers in a lot of different pies, and he does a lot of different development deals that don't necessarily ever turn into anything. But this is the one that personally I look at and go, I really hope this one comes to fruition because it's a great book. I don't know that I would personally, this is just me, I don't know that it needs to be more than a single season. I think it would be great as like a standalone season of like, you know, 8 to 13 episodes because it's not a very big book. Let me look at it real quick because I don't even remember how long it is. Um, let's see. Does it tell me on like Goodreads how many pages it is or anything like that? It's not a big book. It's really not. Um, such a good cover too. Yeah, I don't remember. I was trying to find. I don't see any quick information that I wanted to see about it. But it's one of those books I can sit down and read it in a single session. Um, but that's just because I'll sit down and I'll read the whole thing, and it'll take me a day, but I'll chew through it. So it's not one of those. I don't think it's a big enough book to split into multiple seasons, unless they go with the original concept for the series that Zelazny had, which was this overarching story of people who could travel along the highway and have lots of adventures in space and time. But I know just the book itself could easily be done as a standalone series of like 8 episodes or so. So we'll see what comes out of it. I think it's very interesting. I think it would be really cool to see that come about. That's all I have on my list of notes to talk about tonight. But I do want to say, for those of you who have been tuning in for a while now, um, let's talk a little bit about where the channel is going moving forward, because I know some people have asked some questions in Discord and stuff. Um, I'm still going to be producing, for the foreseeable future, I'm still producing the Lord of the Rings Online Cooking in Real Life series. That's going to be happening every 2 weeks. Those episodes come out on Wednesdays, twice a month. I don't anticipate doing those more than once a week because, um, as much as we're cooking, it's just in between all the other things that we're doing. Recording an episode is a chunk of work, and we just preferred to drop back because I'm also helping Chris film stuff for her show. So a couple times a month is fine for those episodes, but we're still doing those for the foreseeable future. We're still doing the Lotro streams Mondays and Thursdays, as long as my brother's schedule stays free on those nights. Wednesday nights, he and I are meeting up to do our brainstorming sessions, and those are being recorded. The brainstorming sessions for Project Dramond, and those are being recorded, and then we are publishing those on YouTube. I may publish those the same night. I haven't decided yet. The first episode that we recorded is going live tonight with the live stream. There's also the first of the map making videos that's going live tonight along with the live stream. And moving forward, this is the important thing. Moving forward with YouTube in particular, with this channel, you're going to be seeing a lot more than what I've been doing for the past few months. So the past few months, it's mostly been Lotro streams, the Lotro Cooking in Real Life series, um, the Bloody Knuckles read through, along with the Echoes of the Past, Book One of the Saga of the Sea read through, and then the Monday Musings episodes. Those are the 4 things that I've been doing. Once I wrap up the Bloody Knuckles read through, and I think we have, let me double check real quick. I'll tell you how many stories we have left. We just did Richter, so I've got 1, 2, 3 more stories in this book. So 3 more weeks of that. So we'll be wrapped up with this by the end of March. And then we'll probably be continuing. I don't have any plans to change that. We'll be jumping back into Echoes of the Past next, and I'll be reading through Echoes of the Past. I'm not going to be doing it a chapter per session though, because these chapters are massive. They're like 7,000 word chapters. So we'll probably be splitting chapters in half and doing like 30-minute episodes, 30 to 45-minute episodes, um, and reading through the book in that way. So for the foreseeable future, I would say going through both of these, this will be the rest of March and we'll be done with this book, and then diving back into this. This will probably take the rest of 2021 to read through. So that's going to continue for sure. So we're definitely going to continue the Lotro streams on Mondays and Thursdays. We're definitely going to continue the Monday musings. We're definitely going to continue the read throughs on Sundays. And then of course the Lotro Cooking in Real Life series. Now, what else is coming to the channel? So like I said, the weekly brainstorming sessions with my brother. Then all of the map making episodes for the new Project Dramond, all the map making episodes, I'm recording all of those and they're going live on, and they're going to YouTube. They're being published on YouTube. I may live stream some of those moving forward, but I would anticipate there's going to be at least one map making video per week, if not two map making videos per week that come out. There's also those are the world map videos. As we get deeper into Project Dramond, a part of what we're working on is the campaign maps, the battleground maps, the city maps, all of which are for the module, for the campaign module. I'm recording all of those episodes as I make those maps. I'm using a program called Incarnate. And so I'm recording all of the episodes as I make those maps, and those are coming out on YouTube as well. Most of those are pre-recorded, some will be live streamed. There are also going to be live stream episodes as I work on the tabletop rule set. There's also going to be live streams where I do live writing sessions in the new novel. So there's going to be lots and lots and lots and lots of content coming out on YouTube throughout the rest of 2021. It might not be daily, but it'll be nearly daily. If you look at the scope of what's being produced, so we've got Lotro streams, we've got Lotro Cooking in Real Life, we've got Monday musings, we've got read-throughs, we've got brainstorming sessions, we've got map making videos, we've got live writing videos, we've got tabletop writing videos, all that stuff. So there should be something out pretty much every single day on YouTube throughout the rest of 2021. And I would urge everyone, if you haven't already done so, to make sure to check the links below and get over to TikTok, because I'm doing snippets on TikTok, which are different than the long form videos I put here. Because most of the stuff I put up on YouTube is 30 minutes long or more. The stuff I'm putting on TikTok is snippets, and I might, as I've been doing, because we just started the TikTok a week ago. Maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it was like 2 weeks ago I started the TikTok. The whole reason I started TikTok was for Project Dramond. And I've been doing at least 1 to 3 updates per day. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, but at least 1 update per day. Whenever I sit down at the desk and I'm working on something related to the project, it doesn't matter if it's a map, it doesn't matter if it's Chris doing concept art. You want to come over and say hi real quick? It's not live, this is pre-recorded. You can just come say hi. Just come say hi. Just come say hi. Just get in the video and say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. So she's doing sketches. So you're going to want to check out TikTok, because it's not just me. It's me doing stuff. It's anytime that she sits down and do sketches. Like today, in the morning, I did a Project Dramond update where it was me talking about some stuff. And then tonight I posted what she was working on, her sketches for the day. So there's lots of content coming out, and it's different than the content that's being produced here on YouTube. And everything is related to the new project that we're working on over on Patreon. But it's the daily snippets. It's the little things that she and I are working on throughout the day as we have spare time. So I would highly urge you to check the links below and get signed up over at TikTok and follow along with what we're doing there. So that's a brief update. Obviously, those of you who are interested in the project, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, go check out the page, because even though we haven't done the live stream yet, and we're not going to be doing it until tonight at 8 p.m., the Patreon page is live now with all the updates. So you'll be able to go there. Or even if it's not live at the time that this video gets, it'll be live later on today. So check the Patreon multiple times throughout the day, and you'll see the updates in real time as they happen. But definitely don't forget, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon, get updates, understand that there's a lot of new content that's going to be being published here on Patreon. Where there will be days where there's going to be more than one thing posted per day. There's going to be lots of stuff happening throughout the rest of this year. And then eventually, as my brother starts getting things published, we're going to be sharing out his TikTok as well because he's doing separate things that he's publishing on TikTok. Um, Subscribe to all the places. Follow the links below. So get signed up here. Get signed up over at Patreon. Get signed up over at TikTok. Those are all the main places where things are going to be happening. And of course, Discord and all the other social media channels. All the links are below. Stay tuned. Hope you come in and tune in live tonight and ask questions and so on and so forth. And we'll either see you here on YouTube or over on TikTok or over on Patreon, one place or another. Thanks for your support. It's going to be an amazing trip. I'm looking forward to the rest of 2021. I'm really looking forward to unveiling the project to everyone and getting you all involved. So see you tonight. See you tomorrow, whenever, wherever. Stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time.